Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Wow. And wow spelled backwards. Can we just give some virtual hand claps in the chat for that amazing, amazing song, Wow, by Miss Christian Harris. Thank you so much, Miss Harris. And as just to let you all know, because I know y'all want to know, who was that amazing, amazing voice that you just heard? Christian Harris is a celebrated alumnus of Coppin State University. Somebody say, "Hey, Coppin." Dr. Bolden, you got the mic. Can we get an A Coppin back? A Coppin.
Hey, Captain.
All right, thank you very much. So Ms. Harris is a celebrated alumnus of Coppin State University, and she is also an actress and a vocalist. And she's a member of Womb Work Productions. This is amazing. I hope y'all are doing okay today. My name is Dr. Geronda Burley, and I will be the host for today's virtual book launch, another virtual book launch for the honored guest, Dr. Earl Sebastian Bolden. Give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up, give it up. Okay. Let me just give you all a few reminders because I know Dr. Bolden is ready to bless us with a whole lot of stuff. So the first thing y'all want to do is grab a glass to toast with. We're going to be, don't drink it. Grab your glass, but don't drink it yet, okay? Don't drink it, okay? We're going to have a little toast later. I'm putting mine out the way so I don't knock it over. And so grab that. We're going to be doing a special toast at the end. And I also want to let you know, if you are on social media, please use the hashtag for today. Our hashtags are fighting for justice. That's fighting the number 4 justice. And also you can use the hashtag listen up. Now, if y'all don't know what a hashtag is, we're going to put it in the chat. Our executive producer, Dr. Gary Jones, is going to put it in the chat as well. So if you're on social media, whatever your preferred platform is, you know, put a shout out, let them know what you're doing today. And you can use the chat. I see people are already dropping some comments in the chat, so we thank you for that. You can use the chat to post questions or comments. There you go, fighting for justice. So any well wishes or anything you want to offer to Dr. Bolden, put it in the chat. And also, most importantly, we're going to tell you how to order this book, right? You're going to get a little teaser today, but we want to tell you how to pre-order this amazing book that is titled, They Are Still Not Listening, The Fight for Justice. And we know that that is relevant on so many levels. And let me just tell y'all, I'm not going to give it away, but y'all are in for a treat. We're going to have some fun. It's going to be some good stuff. But I do want to let y'all know, okay? Warning, all caps warning. we are recording. Okay, so we are recording and we are streaming live on Facebook. So you can, there's going to be some information in the chat to let you know how you can invite someone else if you want to. Send them the link to register, and then they can also join this amazing virtual book launch. So put that in the chat. But for real, I want to let y'all know that you are being recorded. So don't be sipping on your toast stuff too soon, okay? Because you're live, you're streaming live. Okay. So without further ado, I want you, Dr. Bolden, to give us any opening words and then tell us about this graphic we're going to put up that has, you know, your travel schedule because you are busy these days. So our executive producer is going to put up your graphic with all these great events and tell us, greet the people and tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yes, first of all, let me wish you a happy good afternoon. Welcome to the second book launch in the series, The Passion of the Period, The Passions of the Period. Last month, you were first introduced to the book or Journey to the Other Side of the Storm. Today, I have the privilege of introducing you to the second one, as promised, and it is entitled, They're Still Not Listening, The Fight for Justice. You may think that it is obvious as far as what this book is all about, but let me tell you that the book does have in some surprises. There are some twists and some turns. I may give you a glimpse of it, but this session today is going to be very interactive. You're not only going to be hearing from me, in that you are going to be engaged in the process at different points as well. But I want to tell you that this launch does not end today. Next month, on March the 28th, we will have another book launch. And the book is already done, so you don't have to wonder whether I'm going to be bringing it out. I'm going to be launching the book that I'm holding up now. It was in the works for a while, but I'm only now getting it out. It's called Tabansi Travels. And Tabansi Travels is a self-awareness coloring book for kids. And this book is special to me, not only because of the content, but because this book is dedicated to the memory of my great nephew, Najee Decory Haynes. Also next month, you will be introduced, some of you will be introduced to it, and others will be reintroduced to my second children's book called Tabansi and the Golden Touch. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning Tabansi and the Golden Touch is because the coloring book is based on Tabansi and the Golden Touch. But not only is the coloring book based on Tabansi and the Golden Touch, there's a workbook that's in development for teens and adults that's also based on Tabansi and the Golden Touch. Tabansi and the Golden Touch, along with the Sparrow and the Mustard Seed, can be obtained from Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all of those other distributors currently carry those two children's books. But I also have a digital version. We're going to be sharing the link with you. So those of you who want to just go and get the digital version, because the kids are at home and they're looking at different things. Plus, if you want to buy the workbook later on, you need to understand the foundation, right, for the workbook. Plus, or if you're going to buy the coloring book, it would be nice for your kids to be able to see the images from the book that the coloring book is based on. On the last Sunday in April, and I'm not going to read the date because I think I have the wrong date here. I was focused on my birthday, which is April the 28th, if anyone feels generous, right? But during the month of April, I will be introducing a game that I developed. It's a therapeutic card game, right? Suitable for families, but also very much for professionals. Professional therapists, counselors would get a lot out of it because it focuses on an issue that a lot of us find difficult to talk about, grief and loss. So I will be introducing that book, that game, but I will also have a few demonstrations. So you can see that it is important that you get the game, right? Most of you have to be home. A lot of people are going through grief and loss. Why not engage in the discussion in a way that's less threatening, but could also be fun as well? So I'm going to be giving you a guided tour as far as how that book can help you along that journey. Also in the month of April, and I know April is not, Mother's Day is not in April, but historically, on my birthday, around my birthday, I typically have a birthday / Mother's Day tribute. And so in addition to the launch, there is a book that I've been working on for ever. It's a devotional guide called The Lord is My Shepherd, My Journey into His Presence. And this one is dedicated to the memory of my mom. And so I will be launching that one because her birthday, along with my dad's, was also in April. So I wanted to make sure that I launched that book, right, also in April. So in April, we'll have the game, we will have the tribute as far as the book is concerned to my mom. But that's not all. I want to make sure that you're going to be involved in this process. So what I have done in the past when I've celebrated my birthday / Mother's Day in April, I've also encouraged those in attendance, and it would normally be in person, to bring their mothers, if possible, right? Or be prepared to offer tributes to their mothers. So those of you who have your mothers, still have your mothers with you, and you can have them join online so they can hear your early Mother's Day tributes. Even if your mom is no longer physically present with you, you can still offer a tribute to her. Okay, so so it'll be more than just focusing on me. It will be a celebration of mothers during April, right? I know Mother's Day is in May, but the next book launch will be after Mother's Day. So you would know that in June, then in May, the focus will be on fathers. So in April, let me go back in April a little bit. In April, I will also be introducing you to some of my Mother's Day merchandise. So you can buy your book, your mugs, your t-shirts, or whatever for mothers as well. So as we go into March now, with the focus on dads, and you see the picture of the mug that says, a mother's cup is filled with love that never can be emptied, though constantly pouring into our lives. And then the t-shirt reminds all of us that nothing touches the heart like a mother's words. In the month of May, the focus will then be on another book. It's called The Fabrics of Life. And in addition to talking about launching the Fabrics of Life, we'll be introducing the Father's Day products. And so you will see for fathers, they have a father's cap, a mug, and a t-shirt. And then there are also a lot of framed inspirational pieces for fathers as well. So we'll be talking about the launch of the book, The Fabrics of Life, as well as the father's merchandises. And just like how we did with mothers, we'd want you to bring your father figure, and honor them, right? So in May, you will be making tributes to your fathers because, again, Father's Day, when it comes around in June, that would be before the next book launch. And then in the last month of the series would be June. And so I wanted to really launch Curtis the Cat, but I'm not too sure if we're going to be able to launch Curtis the Cat as the final focus for our passions of the period. But there's another children's book called The Mystery of the Duck, right? And so I will make sure I honor my word, and you will be introduced to a children's book, because it will be the summer, the kids will be out, and you'll be introduced to at least one children's book. And either next month or in June, we are going to be introducing you about different strategies you can use to engage the kids during this time. The value of dominoes, the value of all of those things in teaching the kids. So we have another surprise plan for you. Part of it maybe when we focus on children in March, but we will also do it in June. That's a snapshot of the remaining sessions in the passions of the period.
I'm just trying to figure out when you have time to do your full-time job with all of us at Coppin State University, where you are a full professor in the Department of Social Work. I'm exhausted hearing that schedule.
Well, I must
passions of the period.
But and you see, I don't have a lot of places to go during this time. So if anything stresses me, I write. If I'm happy, I'm write. Anyone bothers me, I write. Sometimes I get up in the middle of the night, I write. And every piece is not a brand new piece. Some of these things I had completed about a couple of years ago, and I had not done anything about it. So I don't want you to think that all of this, especially the merchandise and those things, will come uncompleted during this 1 year period. Some of the things are now being introduced or reintroduced on social media.
So basically, y'all, basically, you want to do all of your Mother's Day shopping on the merch that you see here on the screen. So you don't even have to think about what you're going to get. There's your merch right there. And so you have been doing a lot, and we are exhausted hearing about it, but exhausted in a great way. I'm so excited about all the great things that God is using you to do and to produce, because these things are amazing. These different topics, they're so relevant, they're necessary, and such a wonderful tribute. So I'm excited. I'm excited because I can say, I know him, we know him, we have a cell phone number. So when you like blow all the way up, like Oprah kind of, you get on Oprah's book club list, remember us, okay? Remember us. So we are excited. So now we want to hear a little bit from the pieces that you're doing, the piece that we're celebrating today. They are still not listening, the fight for justice. And y'all check out in the chat, because you can, there are details in the chat about how you can order your copy, pre-order. And I've already pre-ordered my copy. I hope you got my Cash App. So I'm excited. I can't wait. And y'all, let me tell y'all, look, it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have a good time. So can we just move on to the good stuff, Dr. Bolden? Is that okay? Can you give us a little bit? I mean, we're gonna purchase it. We're gonna pre-order it, right, y'all? I see virtual head nods. We're gonna purchase it. But can we get a little taste? One of your former students is giving you some shout outs. We're recording this, so you'll get a copy and you can see all the shout outs that you're getting. Okay, give us something, give us a little bit. Y'all, it's gonna be good because he just took a sip. Whenever folks start taking a sip and clearing their throats, You all right? Okay, hold on.
Help! Help! Help!
Amidst the insanity of man's inhumanity to man, I cannot breathe. My lungs are filled with the pungent fumes that emanate from filthy minds that have been indoctrinated by centuries of hate. I cannot breathe. Stolen like a thief in the night, shackled, whipped into submission, hair matted, feet swollen, stomachs bloated, skin burned like midnight, and panting from the arduous journey. I cannot breathe. Packed like sardines in a can, stripped of all human decency, deafened by the wailing songs and cries for help, help, transported to a strange land with strange customs and forced to eat their crabs. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. Forced to only do what I'm told and stripped of my nobility, subjected to a state of despair where attempts to escape meant I would be hanged. I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe.
No! No!
Centuries have passed and my throat is still fair game. And though I'm running for my health or relaxing in a park or lawfully driving down the streets, I cannot breathe. You see, we have been subjugated now for centuries to a stifling experience that hampers our attempts to breathe and be treated as humans worthy of the basics. What we face is nothing new. If one of us, if only one of us cannot breathe, I too cannot breathe.
Wow. That was heavy. Okay. Can we get a little bit more? Because I gotta collect myself. Can you give us, that was a lot.
Yes, you know that all this, as the topic would suggest, these were written because of the weight of this period. And this period in the United States, as in several places in the world, represents a struggle. And these two pieces, the I Too Cannot Breathe, and this piece here is from the section called The Struggle. The book is divided into 5 sections. And these two pieces that I'm sharing with you from the section called The Struggle. Thieves. I said it. Thieves for stealing what was not yours to take. If it was given or sacrificed, then my choice of words would have labeled you differently. But you stole a future, robbed a legacy from being fulfilled, took treasures from our kings and queens, princes and princesses. You cheated us of our loved ones' potential for greatness. You robbed us, thief. And you have the audacity to act as if you did us a favor by ridding the world of what you did not see, what you did not see as a gem. Fake as you are, you could not tell what is real. You were blinded by your lack of authenticity, colored by your vanishing principles. You robbed us. Yes, I said it. You robbed us. You were not even gold or silver plated, not even bronze. You are like a bad seed that could not find its footing to grow. Shriveled, shriveled up due to your lack of substance. You stole treasured gems. Yes, you did. You did. To add value. And you did this to add value to your shallow existence. You robbed us. Now we fight as we cannot even imagine a replacement to the irreplaceable. We focus on hope. So we would not wander aimlessly through the maze that keeps swirling around us. With heavy, heavy hearts, we press on because our loved ones' lives mattered. You robbed us.
Told y'all it was gonna be good. I can't wait to get my copy. I'm ready to march. How many of y'all ready? Y'all ready to march? Y'all ready to protest? Black Power? Wow. Um, that's good. I think now we want to take some questions, Dr. Bolden. Is that all right? Can we do some questions?
That's fine.
So if anyone had, I know people are putting, yeah, Dr. Robinson says, I feel so empowered. I know, right, Dr. Robinson? I'm ready to go march. Like I'm ready to cause some good trouble. Let's go. Be ready to get into some good trouble. All right. If you all have any questions, any comments, put it in the chat. Our executive producer, the radio, the hostess with the mostest will share that. This is the time. Um, and we're streaming on Facebook too, Dr. Bolden. Let's see while we give the people a chance to chat, to put some stuff in the chat. We're live on Facebook. So, and y'all can also take this time to tell some other people. You can invite some other people to join us. That link for you is in the chat as well. If some other folks you think would love to join this conversation, if you're on Facebook, you can click that share button or tag somebody in the comments. If you're on Zoom, you can send that registration link that you use, and we'll leave it here in the chat as well, because it's not too late. All right, y'all see any questions, any comments? Dr. Jones, any comments you want to that we want to share?
Yes, we have some good comments. Good trouble mixed with a little bit of reasonable bad trouble. I'm with it from Clifford Marsh. Does Dr. Bolden do private readings? Robertson.
I am available.
Look, you better give us some fees to put in the chat. And we told y'all we had a meeting about the meeting, and we told you. Then we tell you you should look into some voiceovers because he is our what does the dean call you? Our poet laureate.
Laureate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, we got some work for you. All right, if they're yeah, see some other people commenting about your vocal inflections.
Yes, brilliant, brilliant. I feel empowered. Yes, very inspiring.
Good stuff, good stuff. Why don't we move on and get another piece, Dr. Bolden? Because you said the book was broken into various sections. So
yes.
that was from the first section.
Yes.
Right. And so what was the name of that first section again?
The struggle.
Okay, the struggle. Yeah, because let me tell you, what was going on in the beginning? Because you look like you were struggling, and I didn't know, because I'm a preacher too. I didn't know if I should start like praying, rebuking, stretching hands, because we got our production assistant. She's in the background over on Facebook, but she a preacher too. So we didn't know what we were supposed to do when you started choking. What like, were you really choking or what? Because I felt bad. Like, should I do something?
No. But you see, this one was written after the George Floyd incident. And so if you could picture feeling helpless as you watch George Floyd struggling, right? some of you who may have thought that I was struggling, you're not in this space, so you would have felt a sense of powerlessness, right? But those folks who were looking at George Floyd being strangled to death, basically, choked to death, felt somewhat helpless, although they were shouting for to have the knee removed from his neck. They felt helpless. And so the dramatization was to reinforce the point that, you know, sometimes we see things going on such as this, and we may feel helpless to change the outcome. But it was also a reminder that if one of us cannot breathe or struggling to breathe, it should have a serious impact on the rest of us as far as our struggle to breathe as well.
That's good. I was just telling my kids this the other day. I have two small kids, and and my son was he was choking, not like choking about to die choking, but he was choking. And anytime my kids choke or something goes down the wrong pipe, as we say, I literally can't breathe either. And I was explaining it to my daughter, like, oh, she's like, what's wrong with you, mommy? She's like, love, we call him love bug. She said, it's love bug choking, not you. And I said, I can't explain it because whenever one of them gasps for air, if they're choking, small or big, I literally can't breathe either. It's weird. I don't know if anybody else had, like, I literally can't breathe when they're struggling. So that connection that you just made is very powerful, because I didn't know what to do because I thought, okay, he's drinking water. Okay. But yeah, I didn't know what was going on. So, all right, thank you. That was very powerful. And several other people said they felt they could identify as well with that whole just feeling helpless and you know not feeling like you can do anything. So, what is the title of the next section? Because we want to hear a little bit more. What's
The next section we are going to, because remember, as a result of what happened with Joe, spurred on largely, not solely by that, but it was accumulation of all of these injustices meted out primarily against Black males, but not solely. And so remember, there was a fever pitch that was going on in the country. And it was not only in the United States, but other parts of the world as well. And so it was clear that we were going through a struggle. And so we had a choice as to sit back and do nothing or fight. And fight doesn't always mean that you're physically attacking someone, but there are different ways that you can battle something, that you could fight against something. And I must say here that the attempt in these readings is not to put down any race, but to elevate us, because someone also said on Dr. Cheryl Chapman, who was one of our Black History Month speakers, she said, look, in order to forgive, you must first tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, you can't really forgive the person. So this book is largely about truth telling. It does not apply to every white person or everyone who is a member of a race that has done us wrong, but it tells the truth about the issues that we as Africans in the United States and in the diaspora still face. So this section is called The Fight. And I'm just going to read one about the fight, because there will be some other things that we'll be doing later on that will bring you into this experience as well. So what I'm going to share with you now is a piece that captures when we were at the height of our emotions in responding to what was happening in the United States and elsewhere. The boiling point. My blood is now at its boiling point, with temperatures you cannot control. There once was a time when it started to simmer. And I pleaded with you for your help, but you chose to ignore my warnings. Now you are asking me for guidance to turn down the heat. The heat from the flames that you ignited, the heat that you now feel. So much time has passed that your delayed tears no longer move me. My heart has been numbed so I could survive and hope that one day I could grieve. My unresolved trauma is compounded each day by your failure to act on my pain. Too little, too late has resulted in the fate of the life that was taken because of you. So the calluses that are formed that would not let me feel your tears have been formed for my protection and not to help ease your pain. Yes, my blood is at its boiling point from temperatures that you have raised. I could only pray that one sweet day, true justice will prevail. The boiling point.
I'm telling y'all, we're gonna be ready to protest after this. I'm just saying, because you in a good way, you are. This is really bringing up lots of things. Not that they have ever gone away, but as I listen, I just like I'm re-envisioning and reliving the things that we were plagued by in years, last year and all the various various incidences of social unrest that we keep experiencing. So, wow, this, yeah, it's very powerful, very powerful. We have a few more questions came through, Dr. Bolden, as you were getting ready to start. So, if our executive producer can share a couple of those, and you can briefly answer, then we're gonna go on to get ready to talk to one of our esteemed colleagues.
Yes, we have several comments and questions. Listening to your presentation had me feeling the same sense of helplessness and what we witnessed. I want to reach out into the scream and knock the beast off my brother's back. The journey continues. Another comment, thank you for your passion and your vigor in your expression. Another question from our audience, what do you believe is one of the biggest failures of this struggle and one of the biggest benefits, and why?
Okay, I'll attempt to address that. And this again is from my perspective. You may see it differently. I think one of the biggest struggles of the failure, failures of the struggle was in and I'm talking, when I say our, I'm talking about my generation and the one that preceded me, to not do as good a job as we should in linking the struggle to present realities. And so some people, in my estimation, have seen the struggles in the 60s and some in the 70s as a thing of the past and not as relevant to their current existence. I think we made some gains were made. And I think in some situations we got comfortable, right? And there's a lot more that needed to be done. There's a lot more that I think we could have done in preparing the next generation to continue the challenge. And also, as I said earlier, to engage in more truth telling. Because we did not engage in the truth telling as we should. We find ourselves in a place where we have not forgiven some folks that we needed to forgive. Now, one of the things, as far as one of the biggest benefits from my perspective, is the Voting Rights Act. We were able to put some people in power. We were able to bring about some changes because we were given the right to vote. But the sad thing is that too few are still exercising that right for which our ancestors bled and died. Fortunately, this past election saw a insurgence of that energies. And so we were encouraged by the fact that it may very well be a new wave coming. But I'm still also a little saddened by some of the energies that I saw in July and August begin to disappear a little bit, right? And I hope, right, that I am not an advocate for violence. Any of you who know me would know that's not what I'm advocating for, right? But we have to keep the pressure on to bring about the change that's needed, because there's some that's going to say, oh, just wait it out, and they will run out of steam. And so those are some things that I fear. Where we are in the struggle now is a resurgence in some ways among certain factions. But if you hear on the media and you do the research, some young people are saying, okay, the older, more seasoned ones need to step aside, that this is our fight. And so we're finding ourselves in a situation where we're pitted against each other, right? And rather than coming together and said, okay, we older ones need your energies and your new way of thinking about things. But we have the stronger connections to the resources that you need. And we have some lived experience that you could benefit from so that you don't get burned out before you get started. So we need to come together more, right? And so it would be seen as a joint effort rather than going against each other.
That's good. Um, Dr. Jones, did you want to make a quick announcement before we move on?
So do we have any additional questions that we want to discuss put to our author? Any questions, comments?
Actually,
One comment stated,
Dr.
one comment is,
Jones, I'm sorry to interrupt. Slight shift. I'm just looking here. Let's come back to the rest of the questions, because I did see y'all making some good questions, and there's several other questions, Dr. Bolden, in the chat that we do want to get to. But thank you, Dr. Jones. But I know that our honored guest he needs a commercial break. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So we're gonna take a commercial break. Okay, and we'll come back after the commercial. Well, you, Dr. Bolden, take your commercial break, and we are going to shift to our next presenter. Thank you. Dr. Drury. Hey, Dr. Drury.
Good afternoon, Dr. Burley.
Hey. So, yeah, this is a treat. So, Dr. Malcolm Drury, I had to like practice. Say it for me. Say Drury.
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 Yes.
See, I was saying it like that at first, and Dr. Bolden told me I wasn't saying it right. Okay. It's so good to see you outside of the hallway in our virtual space. But listen, we wanted to have you come on to share, because I understand that you wrote the foreword for this amazing book, They Are Still Not Listening, The Fight for Justice. So can we interview you for a moment? I know you and Dr. Bolden, aren't y'all getting ready to teach a Black families, a Black class, something? I know y'all power to the people. So y'all got some exciting stuff. Okay, let me focus. That's not what we're doing today. Right now, I want to know what made you write the forward to the book. Did he pay you? Is that what it was? Like, why did you write the forward to the book?
No, actually, this was a great honor to actually be able to. I really thank Dr. Bolden for giving me the opportunity to write the foreword to this book. Um, and I know he has, um, recited a couple of pieces from the book, but I had the honor and the privilege to be able to, see these, a lot of these poems and pieces as, as it seemed like it just came from his head. And as he would, write these pieces down, he would send them to me through, text message or email. And, as he already stated, and as you stated, Dr. Burley, during this, 2020 period, it's been a hard time for all of us. It's been a struggle for all of us. And through what we've seen, going on, we've had a lot of ups and downs and, trials and tribulations and a lot of success. And as I was reading through these, very powerful pieces that Dr. Bolden were putting together, um, I just said I have to talk about this. I want to say something at the beginning. So he agreed, and no, he didn't have to pay me.
Well, maybe he should pay you later, right? No, I'm just kidding. That's what an honor. That was so very nice of you. That was a very kind gesture, and I know he's very proud of it. And we're honored that you share. So I have two more questions for you. Can you discuss a little bit from your perspective the relevance of this book? I know he's been sharing a bit, and people have been sharing in the comments, but just from your perspective, what do you see as the relevance of this amazing book?
Um, I I think the real relevance to this book, and you can tell by, just the few pieces that, some of you have heard and hearing, Dr. Bolden recite and the emotion that I know you thought he was choking, but I know he was getting prepared for, you know, getting his emotions right to go into that dark place in order to recite that piece. Um, and you have to look at into that darkness. But I think the main thing about these pieces from Dr. Bolden is that there is hope at the end of all of these pieces. You may enter, a brief period of darkness, but and then you find that hope, and you're inspired by the new heights that come out at the end of these pieces. And I think that's one of the major parts, of, everything that I read. It made you upset at times. It made you sad at times. But at the end of it, it enlightened you and brought a bit of hope to our struggle and our situation. And I say a little bit about it in the foreword, but one of the things that our ancestors have always done is that they push forward. We can't just stay in that dark period. We have to push forward into the light and look for that light. And I think that's what these pieces do.
Yeah, that's good. I like that because it definitely did bring back up a lot of stuff, some very, very painful things that we've experienced and recently, but I'm sure it made many of us go back even further. But we have to channel that and use it for good. Talk to us about how you see this book being used. So, how can book be used, and specifically with what individuals? I know
Um,
you've seen more of the book than we have. So, how do you think it could be used?
I think this is a great book for people of all ages. That it can be read to. I know that some of the pieces in this book I'll be reciting to my younger kids, and even my son in high school. The piece that he did at the beginning, actually my son did a similar piece, um, you know, about the struggle of George Floyd and not being able to breathe. And I think there are lessons in there for people of all ages, that they can take something from this book and use it as a guidance. And I know Dr. Bolden is always, you know, you know, talking about, we have a place of despair and, trauma, but we have to find that peacefulness and that hope at the end of that journey that we go through. And it's good to use this book to take us through that journey where we find, courage and humility and civility and determination at the end of it. So I think that's a lesson for all of us as we read through the pages of the book.
Thank you. That's how, yeah, and that was a good point that you made about using it with your children. I thought about as he was reading too, this is Black History Month, the last day of Black History Month, and we've been for my daughter's homeschool, and so every day she's been learning something from Black history, whether it be a person or, you know, an incident, et cetera. Last week we were doing protest movements. So, and she was
Mhm.
in her Bible study class this morning, and they were asking some Black history questions, and they asked some question, and she was like, Black Panthers. I said, that's my girl. That's my girl. And so I was thinking the same thing, like this is going to be a great book to share because we do Black history all the time. So this is a great opportunity to share. Even how they do um, at some schools, they have recitals and they have people reciting a piece. Like I think that would be good.
Yes.
If I know we could probably figure out a way to require it in our classes. This would be a great required textbook for some of our classes. But I could see kids in school plays or recitals, Black History Month at churches, reciting these pieces. So I think it has amazing an amazing opportunity
Hmm.
for all ages. As you said, that was a great point.
There's so much of our history and struggles being taken out of the classroom, and I think this will be an excellent piece to, you know, to people to bring back or teach that part of history.
Yeah, so I definitely think it would be a great supplemental text to many of our classes at Coppin, which is an HBCU, Coppin State University, or not just Coppin, but other schools as well. So, wow. Well, it's so good to see you. I know when we have our college meetings, everybody's a little circle. So it's good to see you again, and
You
hopefully
too,
we'll see
Pepper.
you again on that fifth floor real soon in the
Thank
cut. All
Yes.
right. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. So we are now going to, oh, snap. King Mansa, uh, how are you? I told y'all, look, I knew he was going to be extra. I told y'all. Look at that. Are you auditioning for Coming to America or like what happened? We can't hear you. Look, you so sharp when you forgot to turn the mute off. Looking like royalty over there, right? Y'all see him up in there? I see. That's how he does. Unmute yourself. He had a
If
wardrobe
someone
change.
if, if someone can pass on the word, hey, I wouldn't mind getting a paycheck from there.
Uh-huh. Look, you got a team over there helping you change because it's COVID. But you got a wardrobe team.
I cannot tell everything.
Okay. Okay. I knew you were gonna do something, but I didn't know you were coming back looking all priestly and royal and kingly. Okay. So we just had a really great conversation with Dr. Drury. And let me just let you know too, you told me like you had me practicing the wrong pronunciation. Just want to let you know. But we had a really great conversation, and we think we have found a way to justify you having your book as supplemental text in some of our classes. We see our kids doing reciting this at the Black History play at school, at church. It's about to become a part of our Black History study at home with Naomi and my little love bug, because you know we raising some activists over here as well, and so we're excited. We got a whole plan. We have a whole plan
I'm for it.
for this book. It's amazing. So, and y'all, we're gonna move on to some more pieces, but make sure if you are on social media that you're using that hashtag that we mentioned early, fighting the number 4 justice. Um, and the other one that we're using is listen up. Okay, so make sure you do that. And if there's somebody who you think would like to join this conversation and hear all this good stuff, be blessed by these wonderful pieces that King Bolden is sharing, you can still look at the Zoom chat or look at the Facebook chat, whichever platform you're on, and you can send them the registration link and they can be right on in. We are recording, so just so you know that, and you'll get a link later too if you want to check it out later. But we're excited. This is good stuff. Okay, now you have done your wardrobe change. You didn't tell us you were going to be royal, but we appreciate that. Can you give us a little bit more? Another few sections, another
Ye-
few pieces from this next section. Tell us what you're gonna share with us.
Yes, we're going into the section that is entitled Misguided, right? And so I'm going to share 2 very different pieces. And remember earlier on, I said that when you read the title of the book, they're still not listening. The assumption is that this book is referring solely to whites in particular who are not listening to what we are saying as far as our daily struggles. Listen to this piece, and it may help you understand why I'm saying this. This piece is simply called Misguided. It's from the section Misguided, and then I'm going to transition into another piece that we need to really ponder quite a bit. Yes, I'm Black. I am Black. I am a Black man. Yet I'm not like those others. I really am not. I am not like those others who were stopped by the police. Why, you may ask? Let me tell you. I'm not a criminal. I don't do drugs. I'm not a thief. I'm not angry. I'm not violent. I'm not lazy. I'm not a womanizer. I am, however, a good man, a law-abiding man. I am an honorable man. I am a faithful man. I am a mild-mannered man. I am a working man. I am a Christian man. That's why I have never been stopped by the police or arrested. I cannot relate to those other Black men who get arrested. I really cannot. I cannot relate to these men, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not. Now, this other piece is important that a lot of us who are of a certain age, and I would dare say probably all who are on this call, with the exception of few, I see some names. I'm not too sure if it's my brother or his son, right? But if it is his son, we probably need to say, ask for his forgiveness as well. Dear younger generation, forgive us. forgive us if we have failed you. We pray that you will find a much better way than we did to right the wrongs that continue. We really do. Decades ago, we fought against the injustices that have been in place for centuries. Though there was some progress made, we failed to keep the pressure on, and some of the progress has been lost. We're sorry. We now turn to you to find a better way and offer you the support that you need. We join you in confronting the atrocities, hoping that a more significant change would occur and that this change would last. With our lived experiences and with your energies and wisdom, we will fight a system that is still unkind to us. And we will fight so we can live to see another day. And as we live, flourish. We acknowledge your right to be angry at us. We really do. And we accept that. Now let us join our common anger at the suppressive and violent system that has divided us and distracted us from our pain. United, we stand in the battle for freedom. Forgive us, so we may move forward.
Wow, that's good. That's real. That's some, Dr. Bolden, this is not like all funny and stuff. This is some heavy stuff. Like you're making us go deep into our emotions. Um, but yeah, I think we definitely do have to request a good deal of forgiveness to those who are coming behind us. So what we want to do right now, Dr. Bolden, is can we take a few more questions? Is that okay? Because there were, I mean, you told us you needed a commercial break. We weren't quite clear on what your commercial break included, but there was some other comments and questions coming in. So, executive producer, can you go back through and present to Dr. Bolden some of the great questions that came in, because there were several. We want to go back to those. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. Dr. Bolden, what inspires you to write? What's your inspiration?
Any and everything, any and everything. Sometimes I'm walking around the track or even running around the track that's right beside my house. And I could see a bird and I may stop and some people look at me and wondering what I'm doing. I'm walking around the track, and even one time, one piece in the book that's called Juneteenth. I wrote it walking backwards on the track. People were looking at me like, okay, he cannot focus on one thing or the other, right? But I just saw something as I was walking around the track and got inspired by that. TV, the news media has been filled with a whole lot of stuff. I get my inspiration from there. Lots of friends, loved ones, and even strangers have been struggling with an array of issues. And so I get my inspiration from that. Sometimes I get inspiration from an abstract thing. I mean, look outside, look up in the tree, and I may be inspired by the tree. So that's what I mean by, and then some pieces just come. I wake up in the middle of the night with something on my head, and I just have to write. And sometimes I write 2 or 3 pieces and then go right back to sleep like a well-satisfied baby. Any and everything.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You have some supporters who would love to invest in your work. Do you ship to the Caribbean?
I'm looking at how that can be made possible, right? Because there are several pieces that I am writing that I know would definitely benefit the Caribbean community. Part of the challenge is what customs may charge, right? I was told that if it can be categorized as educational, that there will be some less taxes that I have to pay. But I'm currently looking into that rather than doing it the way that I have in the past, where if I know anyone who's going along to the Caribbean, ask them if they could take some, or I take some, and I don't want to do that, especially as I increase. That's not the best way of doing it. But I looked into printing in the Caribbean, and printing in the Caribbean can be very costly. And so what we are trying to do as a way of making sure that those who are outside of the United States can get access to it is by having some digital copies. I did go as in the case of those two children's books, through Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and what's not. But when you're working through a publisher and with those distributors, unless you like an Oprah or someone like that, you get next to nothing. So when, for instance, and I have no problem telling you this, right, that I may get $2 or $2 and something cent off of the sale of each of those books. And for instance, eBay, I've seen Tabansi and the Golden Touch on eBay for $35. Then you get it $2. So it allows a wider distribution because of those distributors. But unless you are very famous and you can sell in huge volumes, it's really not cost effective, efficient.
Thank you. Thank you. I know we have some other questions and comments. We do see them, and we definitely will get to them. But Dr. Bolden, I want us to move on to the next section so that we can get to our nice little activity exercise and honor the time. So can you read something from your next section for us?
Yes, the next section is about questions, right? And so remember, we started with the, then we went to the fight, and then we went to the next stage, which was misguided. And now we're entering the section where there are a lot of questions. And some of the questions are questions that adults have, but we must not forget that during this time, that our children have a whole lot of questions. So in this section, you will see some pieces where some adolescents and some children are asking their parents some simple but yet profound questions. And although they may not have been questions that we may have asked as kids, these kids nowadays process things quite differently. So I'm going to read three because they're very short pieces. And the first one, it says, why do you really fear me? Why do you really fear me? Is it fear of retaliation for the wrongs that you and your ancestors have done? Do you fear that my presence means that there's less a piece of the pie for you to have? Do you fear that sharing a neighborhood residence will lessen your property value? Do you fear that my presence means that I could covet or rob you of your possessions? Do you fear that my perceived sexual prowess would clearly make me a predator? Do you fear that my love for my kind of music and entertainment mean that I would be inviting undesirable guests? So why do you really fear me? Is it simply because you don't know me? Next piece, from a child's perspective. Mommy, I have a headache. It hurted me, mommy, and I'm scared. I'm afraid to walk about, for I don't want to be killed. I don't want to be killed, mommy. I know you said that I would be safe, but I don't understand how. I see violence on the TV and on the internet. I see stories of little kids who have never lived to see another day, gunned down while they were playing. It's not that I don't believe you, but some of those killed were my friends. I miss them, but I don't want to be like them. That's why I'm afraid, mommy. And the last one, which is another question that is posed that some children have in their minds, is simply one that's directed to daddy. Says, Daddy, how do I deal with the hurt? The hurt when someone is killed. How do I deal with the guilt? The guilt of wondering, why not me? I'm angry at myself, angry for not staying home. At times I cannot feel anything because I'm numb from my head to my toes. Do you see why my head is exploding, Daddy? I have to deal with all of these emotions, and the stress is driving me crazy. I don't want to do something foolish, for I know that it would cause you more pain. I hope that you can hear me, Daddy. I hope that you can help me find answers to help me ease the pain. Help me, Daddy.
That was good. That was whew, that was definitely good because you're right. Our children have lots of questions about a lot of stuff, about the unrest, social unrest, about COVID, about all of the death that is going on around us, that may in our families, with our friends, families, and just what they hear on TV. Um, so yeah, that's a lot. This book is going to be amazing. I can't wait to get my copy. So listen, what we are about to do now, Dr. Bolden and everyone, we're making a slight adjustment because we were going to have someone else to come up. Let me just check something real quick before I make a shift in our, okay. Yeah, so what we're going to do now, Dr. Bolden, and you can go ahead and set it up for us. We have a little activity. And if y'all, y'all got all these educators up on the stage right now. So we have an activity that we're going to do. And if any of my students are on, y'all can't blame me. This is Dr. Bolden's activity. So, but it's going to be a good one. So I'm excited. So Dr. Bolden, we are going to go into breakout groups. So you want to give everyone um, our assignment. And I'm just going to read this one comment, real quick, because this is so good. Dr. Mona Calhoun said, these are more powerful than the first book. I agree, Dr. Calhoun, because the other book was great too. This is our second virtual book launch. But these are very powerful, very thought-provoking. So yes, so can you tell us about the breakout groups that we're getting ready to go into?
Yes, as we go into the breakout groups, because I want you to have an opportunity to contribute to the discussion as well. As you will see that the material is heavy, right? Some of it is heavy, but it takes the reader through a range of emotions. So don't think that everything in there is going to is only about a sad situation. There are pieces in there that inspired you to act, but are also hopeful. So as you go into the breakout rooms, you're supposed to be given a selection. I don't know exactly how that will occur, but each group will have a selection to review. But as you go into the group, select a facilitator, someone who would be reporting back out when we come back into the main section. And what I want you to do as you enter the breakout room is to make a suggestion as to whom the selection that you will be focusing on, which audience or audiences that selection should be used with. That's the main thing I wanted you to look at what meaning it has to you and whether you can relate to the content. What meaning it has to you and whether you can relate to the content, and then what audience or audiences you would recommend that particular piece to be used with. And we be giving folks around 15 to 20 minutes in the, Dr. Burley, 15 or 20 minutes?
Actually, we're going to do 10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay.
Yes, and the selections, our executive producer is amazing. Dr. Jones, thank you. He has posted the selections. The directions for you all in the chat. So you see them there. You're going to select a facilitator, and we're going to put you in your rooms. And so what you can do when you get to your breakout room, you can introduce yourself, and then we will send the selections to you, okay? So look at that. People know we're going to break. We're not ending. Folks trying to sneak out, trying to get away from the breakout groups. All right, here we go. Stand by. And all you have to do is get in your group and introduce yourself, and then we'll be coming there to give you some information, okay? All right. All right, 1 second here. Dr. Bolden, 1 second, because we do need to address something here. I'm trying to get, okay, we have some people who for those of you who are still in the room, can you please go to the breakout rooms? I will give some assistance there. George, George and Joan, can you please select the option to go to the breakout room, or I'll send you to another one. Let's just do that. Carrie, I'm gonna send you to a room. All right, so Dr. Bolden. So Carrie, George and Carol, if you all could go, I'm trying to send you all to a breakout room. So I'm gonna just send you to rooms, so you can just go there now, George, and I'm just gonna send it to Laura. All right, so I think it's just that. So look, Dr. Bolden, can you hear me?
Yes.
Here's the deal. Oh, wait 1 second. Let me pause the recording. Just a second.
Custody. So let's go in order. Group one. Who's reporting out for group one?
I'm not sure we know what groups we were in. I think we knew by the poem or by the story.
Okay, but is that Art's voice that I'm hearing?
I almost wish I hadn't spoken first. Yes.
Okay, Art King, go ahead and talk to us and tell us who you are, right? And just go for it.
All right, but I'm not quite sure. I'm Art King. I'm the Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students here in New York City at Baruch College, City University of New York. So I'm happy to be here amongst all of you great people today. I'm not quite sure I got the full name of the poem, but our poem talked about men don't cry, so to speak. Could you give us a correct name, Dr. Bolden?
Men who don't cry in the dark, who can't cry in the dark.
Men who can't cry in the dark, exactly. So I was the only man in the group, and I was educated by these wonderful ladies in that group. Sherry, Mona, and Rose were part of my group, and they did a fantastic job of sort of educating me. I shared my own personal stuff. So here's some things that came up for us. We talked about the poem being sort of relevant to both males and females. We talked about, depending on where you are in the world, whether you're in Africa, whether you were raised in the Caribbean like I was, or whether you were raised here in the United States, it might differ. But we talked about how, for example, we talked about back in the days of slavery, when men were raised to be just sort of the breeders, if you will, of these children, and so there was we weren't supposed to be emotionally attached to our kids. And so we held all of those emotions were sort of suppressed because of oppression. And so as a result, these vestiges continue to be part of or dominate our community even today, that we're not supposed to cry. But we talked also about, the ladies educated me about sort of, if you don't allow young men to cry in today's society, you could, and you oppress these feelings, these emotions, then it can result in things like domestic violence and violence in the classroom and violence in the community, etc. So we ought to be able to get rid of those myths that young men or men shouldn't cry, and allow our men to cry. Also, we talked about, men of color not showing any emotions could very well result in not really being able to have stable relationships, whether it's to do with marriages or whether it's, male-female relationships or relationships in general. And if we can't do it even in the dark, or when no one is watching, then we're not really being our authentic selves.
Thank you so very much. And thank you to the ladies who joined you. Thank you so very much, Art. Let's go to another room. Anyone who from facilitating a room, you just jump in.
I'll go next, Dr. Bolden.
Okay.
And everybody, I'm Malcolm Drury. I don't know who the young ladies were in the room, but we had a discussion about and again, I don't remember the title of the poem, but you were talking about how something was stolen from us.
Yeah. Stolen.
And you had mentioned, gold and silver and, being taken from us. And you in the poem, you didn't state like who did the stealing. And so myself and a young lady interpreted like two ways: the stolen legacies or land or gold or silver or people being stolen by white people. But also we thought about it being us also, and how we commit crimes against each other, and we are stealing our legacy from each other. When people between us commit murders or crimes, we're taken away from what king or queen could that have been? What leader or scientist or lawyer or engineer or somebody productive to our society could that have been? when we steal, that legacy from each other. So like we interpreted it in two different ways, and it just made the piece that much more powerful, being able to look at it in those two ways.
Yeah, thank you. Right, and the beauty about poetry is that it could have a variety of meanings to different individuals, right? But the important thing is that it speaks to you in some way. Thank you. Next group.
I can, oh,
Yes, who was speaking?
Yeah, I will. This is Tyrone Bolden, Harold's younger brother, as well as my older brother, George, on the line here. We actually had some technical difficulties, I'll call it, because as we got into the group, there was a message that flashed at the top while we were introducing ourselves to each other, and we missed the poem. So then we were trying to message to get the piece that we were supposed to be discussing, and then we realized in the subgroup you only have access to people within that subgroup, so we lost connection. So we spent some time really just sharing, about ourselves and about our backgrounds and where we're from. So by the time we got to the point that we were going to decide on a piece that we would just take from memory for what touched us, it was really the end of the session. But so, let me go ahead, and if you will allow me, and then if anybody else who was in my group, Vipul Robinson and Kevin Edmond and George and Joan were in the group, but if they want to share as well what really appealed to them, or what piece spoke to them, feel free to join in and share. So we're going to do a little differently than the other two groups, because we didn't really have the opportunity of doing the group discussion. But for me, I think the piece that you spoke on, again, I don't remember the name, in terms of asking for forgiveness for the next generation, that brings everything to me, because and it was also tied to the piece where you talked about losing the connection, or the fact that our generation has more of a connection, and the current generation probably, we're getting further and further away from the work that was done in the 60s and the 70s that advanced the cause that we're speaking about today. And we've gotten into sort of this, I would call it a comfort zone, where things like hidden racism is what the term that's used a lot in the environment that I worked in for many, many years in corporate America. Ways that, in fact, you shared a piece, I think, in the last book, where you shared the video, or maybe that was on the thing with the church. But there's all these things that really have allowed us to become comfortable in our space, where we have lost sight of the fact that the struggle is still real and the struggle is still continuing. So when we encounter situations like we did recently with George Floyd and others, we really don't know how to react, and we really don't know how to talk to the next generation. So I feel like we really have got to a point where we have to connect the dots and just make sure that folks understand that what apparently is underground still can come to the surface. So all the racism, all the injustice, all the hate, all of that's really under the surface, it very quickly can bubble up. All you need is to have somebody in a position of power to make other people feel comfortable that they can go back to that sort of environment. So really apologizing to the next generation, because we do have to do a better job of connecting them with Pan-Africanism, connecting them with their heritage, their the struggle, the passage, and different things like that, and just really remembering, especially this month, Black History Month, to make sure that we keep educating the youth, and not really to be, like you said, Errol, not really because we want to be violent, but because we want to be vocal. We want to have a voice. We want to make sure that people understand that we don't accept to be treated differently, and we know what our rights are. So that was the one that spoke to me.
Good. Thanks for sharing. And I'm glad. I know a lot of people would have never seen any of my relatives. I first saw George last week, so I know a lot of them are glad to see a relative. And thank you for sharing that, Tyrone. That is something that we definitely need to do. Anyone else, as Tyrone instructed? Or
Well done, Tyrone. You did a great job. And just to piggyback from that, I just wanted to say that we kind of like cuddle and protect the current generation from the pain that we endured from the past. And in doing that, we shielded them so much that we did not teach them what they needed to know. And as I saw what happened with George Floyd and the whole Black Lives Matter, we are beginning to talk more and the information is getting out more. So I'm glad we are making that connection, because at first we were just protecting them and not wanting to share because we didn't want them to go through the pain we endured from the past.
So true. Thank you, Dr. Robinson.
Dr. Bolden, I'm sorry to interrupt, Jack. I think we only have really time for maybe one more group that really wants to share before we move on to the next treat on the agenda.
Okay. Someone from one of the other groups, let's jump quickly.
I want to share. I'm group 7, and can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Etta.
Okay. And the reason I want to share is because I think we had some technical difficulties also, so we didn't get to scrutinize your question. But we had a discussion. It was one other person in my group. The other 2 people weren't there, and we had a discussion about what the poems meant to us, what poems resonate with us. And one of the ones that I talked about was the fact that the first poem you read, that was the You poem. And I remembered of all the poems that you've read, that's the one that sticks with me, because I think the words that you use, which was you, as you describe all the scenes, the You poem made me think, because it didn't definitely identify anyone, so the you could be anyone. So I thought that was real powerful, because you, and I'm just listening to Tyrone speak about how we as a generation has not gone back and done what we need to do. I think that is really the You poem we should not only be looking at others, we should be looking at ourselves, because one of the things that we did as a generation, as generations move and move, is we forgot that we were a generation of people, because we started to separate ourselves from our own race and from our own generation, because we thought we were better than them. So when this new movement started, and we thought, oh my God, where did we go wrong? Where we went wrong is that we stopped being a family. And when we talk about family, you're not talking about just the person that are related to you. We stop living in our community so we can pass down what needs to be passed down to the next generation, to the other race, to the class race, to the race. So we separated ourselves as people, as Black people, from other Black people, because we became classes. So when we became classes, we lost that connection. So we didn't have the power to be able to prevent some of the things that were happening, because we had no one to look up to. The next generation had no one to look up to, because we were separating ourselves as people. And that's an emotional topic for me. So I will stop there so I don't, continue on, but I wanted to share that. And my participant was a lady who was concerned about her son, because she had a Black son, that when you did your poem about you were never stopped by the police, she talked about her son, who she fears would be, because here he is, a Black man, and he's walking home from work at night, and her fear is that he might be stopped and he might be attacked. So she can't separate herself from that and determine who is good and who isn't good, because it doesn't matter who we are. That's, we're vulnerable as always. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Etta.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know that there was lots of great discussion going on, but we're going to have to move on. So maybe later, if some others want to share, because we want to get on to this next piece, next treat that we have with. I don't know what it is. I just know that it's some special piece with our honored guest, Dr. Earl Sebastian Bolden, and our amazing vocalist, Miss Christian Fawn, our actress and vocalist. So I understand that y'all are about to do something really special. We don't know what it is, but we just want to see it. We are ready. So I'm going to go on mute because I'm as excited as everyone else. Thank you all.
Yeah, these ones are joint efforts between Kristen and myself. I think you want us to do both pieces, Kristen?
Whatever time will permit.
What time?
We're just doing one piece right now.
Okay, so which piece do you want us to do, Kristen?
Dr. Bolden, what do you feel was going to hit the nail on the head for this afternoon? It's been so wonderful. Do we think we need to end with a prayer or an affirmation of being a warrior?
Let the executive producer you choose.
Oh, okay. So, you all have two. Okay, well let's do two. We'll do the two because y'all you trying to be all secretive with stuff. We don't even know what's going on, and we're supposed to be producing. So we'll do. Y'all can close us out on two, and then we'll move on to the next treat that you have, so we can honor everyone's time.
Okay, so we will combine. One is a combined prayer, and it is actually the combination of the Black man and the Black woman's prayer.
Okay. As a queen.
As a king, created in shades that run from midnight to Carmel, fearfully and wonderfully made, a reflection of your majesty.
Created in your image, the mother of civilization and stabilizing force amidst turbulent times and moments of uncertainty.
We took what you gave us and created a culture that was a tribute to your greatness.
I turn to you as the source of all of my strength, my wisdom and comfort.
Men filled with greed attacked and diminished the life we enjoyed while claiming the patterns of virtually all our inventions.
Help me, Lord, to encourage myself in you when society, friends, and family, they don't give me the respect that I deserve.
Through centuries of bondage, our anger was heightened by the life of injustice we were forced to endure. Lord, centuries later, we're still called endangered, for some of your children still set out to harm us.
Cultivate a spirit of love for those who may be hard to love. Bless me with a spirit of forgiveness to shower on those who would seek to just do me harm.
So, Lord, this Black man is seeking your armor so he can survive and ward off the enemy.
Give me the conviction and the wisdom to pursue dreams and goals worthy of your blessings. If I am blessed with parenthood, may I, in my role as a parent, rear children who are conscious of the contributions of their ancestors, aware of their present-day struggles, and of the future struggles because of the color of their skin.
Help me with my anger, Lord, my anger that longs to erupt each time I am wronged because of the color of my skin. Help me to realize that rich skin covers a temple that houses your spirit, and that this spirit should not be defiled by seeking revenge against malicious intentions or living a life not pleasing to you.
Help me to be a role model who shows one's inner beauty and how it can manifest itself as an outward expression of your love.
Help me to be committed to loving and protecting my family, and to be a part of a true village that is focused on rebuilding what has been defaced.
Lord, may I support my brother in his efforts to prosper in accordance to your will. May I also live without fear or defeat, knowing that you protect my soul. And finally, Lord, help me to be a good ambassador of your will and the status you have given me as a child of the King of Kings, blessed by your love.
Help me to be a beacon of light to lead all races to you. And help me to realize that out of the bondage of my ancestors, can rise a hallmark of virtue. In your son's name, I pray. Amen.
Wow. I know y'all have one more quick piece, but while y'all are doing that, y'all get your glasses ready. We get ready to toast in a minute. So one more quick piece, and then we're gonna get ready to toast it up.
Okay, this piece is called The Legacy of the Warrior. And that's why we say it's an affirmation piece. It's a piece, this is not in the book, but it is a piece that's going to be on a poster and hopefully on t-shirts. I am not invisible. I'm a stroke of the master's genius, created in shades that run from midnight to caramel, fearfully and wonderfully made. I am not invisible. I'm proudly Black and male. Others sometimes mistreat me because of the color of my skin, where many have sought to break my spirit by seeking to diminish my value. My voice has been drowned in a sea of discontent, where the waves of injustice swell in response to the blindness and greed of those who fail to see the virtues I possess. Nevertheless, like a phoenix, I rise, for I am proudly Black and male, being nurtured by those whose eyes and ears are finely tuned to the gem who stands before them is what I desire. For I am born into a legacy of strength and endurance, where the narrative of my ancestors have been tarnished and demonized. A bad seed amidst the perceived purity of morality of those with a history of devaluing my legacy. But they will not define who I am or who I will become. I stand proudly as both Black and male. I am a warrior, and chains that seek to confine me will not bind me. For I am free of a past that lingers and shapes a vision of reality that some have embraced, though it is nothing more than a mirage that allows them to continue their quest to rob me of my freedom to live, my freedom to love, my freedom to laugh, my freedom to drive, my freedom to strive, to own a piece of the land bought by the sweat, blood, sweat, and tears of the fallen and enslaved. I fight proudly as both Black and male. I stand so others may sit. I sit so others may stand. I'm brilliantly blessed and generously gifted. I will not be broken or cast aside. I am not invisible. I am a Black man, and I'm proud of it.
I am not invisible. And like my brother, I am not invisible. And like my brother, I am a stroke of the master's genius, reflecting various shades of the ebony spectrum. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am a woman, a Black woman. Now, many have tried to describe me with labels that do not define me, and they have sought to confine me in the color of my skin, and they seek to restrict me to what is expected of the gender to which I am assigned. But I will not be boxed in, although I am clearly Black and woman. I am pivotal to the endurance of a people who have battled much collective trauma. My people were stolen, enslaved. They have been beaten, choked, and kept down. But they, like a phoenix, continue to rise. And I am the vehicle through which life begins and is nurtured. I am a Black woman. Some may see me as the weaker vessel and only see my beauty and tenderness and sensuality. They seem unaware that my greatest strength comes from the health of the body, mind, and soul. And as a vehicle of life, I am committed to preserving my health amidst the injustices that prevail. I am strong, I am Black, and I am a woman. In the shadows of my ancestral strength, like other Black women, I sit so all others may stand. I stand so all others may have the freedom to sit. I too am brilliantly blessed and generously gifted. I will not be held down or cast aside. I will not be rendered invisible because I am a Black woman and I am proud of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legacy of the warrior and the legacy of the warrior princess.
Wow. Can we just give it up? Can we get some reactions, some celebration? I got to put my little heart reaction on there. That was good. Whew, I got chills. That was very, very powerful, y'all. Wow. Take my thing off. That was good. I'm speechless again. And so excited that you all have spent this time with us. We're going to make a slight adjustment if it's okay with everyone. And because we know the time and we want to respect the time. And so what we're going to do now, Dr. Bolden, our honored guest, is move into the toast. So I know by now everyone has their glass of something. And we know that people are pre-ordering. We've been putting it in the chat. So I hope y'all are checking out the Zoom chat as well as the Facebook chat about where you can go to pre-order your copy that's available for you. And all the other things that you're putting in the chat, Dr. Bolden will be able to go back and read it later. We know that there were a couple of questions from a couple of people that we do want to get to, but we're going to get to them during the after party. Y'all didn't know there was an after party. Y'all heard that music that DJ Dr. Jones was playing a minute ago. So if you would like to hang on, Dr. Bolden will be around to get to those questions. But you want to take it over, Dr. Bolden, and lead us in our toast? Yes, toast time.
Yes, I am using one of my glasses that I, with a saying that I wrote a number of years ago. It's a simple one. It says, we celebrate our future by honoring our past. And I thought it was quite fitting for me to drink from this, especially during this time when we celebrate Black history. And what I want to do is just, I'm going to mention two persons that I would like to toast to at this point in time. And if any of you just quickly want to just mention the name of someone, whether they're still with us or if they have transitioned and you want to raise your glasses, we just do so quickly. And so for me, I want to toast my cousin. He was the oldest living relative and he recently died, Darnley Small, at age 96. And I want to also raise this glass to another person who's been like a big brother to me, and this is not sad, and this is the words from his wife. He is in the process of transitioning, and he's the one, he and his wife would always cook ribs for me when I was in South Carolina. And so he is in a happy place, and he's still lecturing to us as Dr. Robert Lewis prepares for his transition to be with his Lord. So I'm raising this toast on behalf of my cousin, Darnley Small, and my big brother from another mother, Dr. Robert Lewis. Anyone else want to raise a toast? Quickly, do so quickly.
I will raise a toast to my sweet Aunt Virginia, who transitioned suddenly in January, the beginning of January, and several other family members. But her sweet spirit lasts with and remains within all of us. So I'd like to toast to her and to you, Dr. Bolden, for this amazing work.
Thank you. Anyone else come quickly?
Dr. Bolden, I'm sorry. I would just like to acknowledge all of our, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm coughing. Go ahead.
Let's go to someone and then come back to
I just want to raise my glass in toast to you, Dr. Bolden. Wonderful work, excellent work. Congratulations and much blessings and good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I'm raising my bottle to you, Errol, and toasting my mom, who was your aunt, and know how proud she would be of you right now if she was alive.
Thank you, Phil.
I'm raising my antioxidant juice over here in honor and in memory of every ancestor within our bloodlines, those who have given their all for us to even be here, their very breaths for us to be here. And I'm also raising a toast to our future generations. May they forward on in our legacy.
Ashe.
Okay, we'll have one more and then we transition. I think Kristen is getting her voice together because she will close us out before. That's not the last thing, but then we have our producer who will be bringing the closing remarks. So,
you know, the Brit said my exact thoughts to all of those names known and unknown, because it is on their shoulders on which we stand. Would you like me to end with a final song, Dr. Bolden?
Yes, that's fine. That's okay. Executive producer, I have to turn to my executive producer for directions.
Yes, that will work.
Okay.
All right. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of Black men, Black mothers' sons is as important as the killing of white men, white mothers' sons. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Oh no, we who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. And we all say Ashe.
Ashe.
Hey.
Ashe.
Ashe. Yes. All right. We have closing comments, but can I make a thank you to our amazing team, as we have all been honored to serve Dr. Bolden in this great way. So we count it an honor to know you, and certainly an honor to serve with you and to be a part of this great moment and this great opportunity. So we certainly don't take it lightly, and we're thankful that you allowed us to be a part of it, because you certainly could have asked many other people. So we thank you for that. And we thank Dr. Gary Jones for all of his amazing production skills and spotlighting and all of the technical stuff that he is doing behind the scene over in his CNN, MSNB studio over there. We appreciate you, my brother. And we also want to just give a special thanks to Miss Nichelle Johnson, who is also behind the scenes, serving as our production assistant. And she's moderating over on the Facebook side. And so she has definitely been a jewel and a gem to us on short notice as well. So we thank you. We celebrate you as well, Michelle. And I'm so happy to meet you, Miss Christian Fon. You have blessed my soul with your beautiful, pretty little self and that outfit. You just have such a sweet spirit. So thank you. And to all of you who are out there in Zoom land. So now we will defer to our executive producer, Dr. Garrett Jones.
Greetings, everybody. If you have enjoyed yourself, please give Dr. Bolden a virtual applause. As we support this great author, don't forget to pre-order your copy of Dr. Bolden's latest book via Cash App, $ Earl Bolden. The cost of the book is $20, which includes taxes, handling, shipping. All those things are involved. If you wish to pay via credit card or debit, please email Dr. Bolden at earlbolden@gmail.com. If you wish to watch this outstanding virtual launch again, please also email him at earlbolden@gmail.com, and we will take time to send you the link. Thanks again for all of you attending. We thank you so much for supporting Dr. Bolden, and we're so proud of him. We look forward to his great work by placing our pre-orders today, for they are still not listening. The fight for justice. Our executive producer, director, and MC, Dr. Geronda Burley. The assistant producer, Miss Nichelle Johnson. We had a special guest appearance from Dr. Malcolm Drury, our vocalist and actress, Miss Kristen Harris. Yours truly, Dr. Gary Jones, executive director, and our esteemed author and honoree, the Dr. Earl Bolden.
Thank you. And with the family and close friends, if you would still remain on, some of you haven't seen each other in a long time. And so we're just going to create some space for close friends and family. Just wait behind in particular, and we can just have a brief conversation. We should have said that a little earlier. Some are have disappeared, but if you can just wait a little while, family and friends, so you can just chat briefly. We would not be long. Thank you. Until
All
next
right.
time.
Thank you, everyone. So you all are free to roam about the cabin, as they say, on the plane. If we were still flying, well, we are flying high right now. So thank you. So Dr. Bolden, we are going to sign off your production team, but you have the capable host privileges to continue to fly your plane. All right.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
all I have to do is leave meeting, and then that's it.
Yep, it's on you. And then the recording will continue. It will stop once you, oh, you know what? I'm going to stop the
Stop it.
recording now.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And we will stop face